Joining me now is Liberal MP, member for Flinders, Zoe McKenzie. Is this a sad day that we couldn't, as a parliament, as a bipartisan representation of Australia's support for Israel, move a motion and agree to it?
It is a sad day. Obviously, it was a long motion and there'd been a lot of back and forth over a number of days. Very much, may I say, led by the Leader of the Opposition, who gave an extraordinary speech last night. You would have seen this, 12,000 people, multiple standing ovations. I was at the Melbourne Illuminate October Festival where the opposite happened. The Prime Minister got a fairly clear message from the Jewish community there about how they felt about his stance and public words. Nevertheless, despite that, it was an exceptionally beautiful moment last night. 6,000 people, lanterns, stories of people who'd lost relatives, friends, colleagues, people who still knew people in captivity, a really important night. So it's a real pity that today, coming off the back of those really important moments in Sydney and Melbourne and elsewhere, Canberra, there was an important gathering here as well, that we couldn't reach agreement and that again, yet again, there's talking on both sides of the mouth, talking about what happened on October the 7th and at the same time demanding a ceasefire without really mentioning the need to liberate the 101 people who are still captive in Gaza.
Explain to us what the problem is here. So why wasn't there a motion agreed to?
So the motion is long and two parts of it go to de-escalate for a ceasefire in Gaza and in Lebanon and to talk about a two-state solution. The 7th of October is not the day for those references. Yes, we are all committed to a two-state solution. Yes, we are all committed to peace. If you listen to the speeches in particular by the member for McNamara, Josh Burns, and the member for Berowra, Julian Leeser, beautiful, meaningful, emotional, personal discussions and their dual commitment to peace, both here in our public discourse and equally in the Middle East. But that's not what this motion goes to. It includes stuff that's not appropriately to be found in a motion today of all days.
Is the fact that it doesn't say negotiated two-state solution, is that part
Kieran,
of the issue
I just think
well?
the point is to make October 7 about what it is about. It's about the slaughter of 1,200 people. It's about the taking of 250 hostages. It's about the fact that 100 still remain there. It's a reflection about what happened on that day. You know, you and I have spoken when I came back from Israel in December about what we had seen. Josh Burns spoke about one today, about families and the videos we saw, the footage we saw in Sderot and what had happened. This is not a day for both sides of the street to be walked. It is a day of remembrance for what happened in Israel a year ago.
And do you see this as Allegra Spender said, that it should have been done, even though she did vote with, she voted with the government, I noticed in that motion, but she was saying, why can't we do both? Do this today, get it done, move another motion another day? Is this politicising this issue?
Look, I do think it's been unnecessarily fraught, frankly. I think the point that Julian Leeser made today was, if there's disagreement, just leave it out. You don't need to then push for different viewpoints on a day that should be one of unity. We've done it before. You've seen great moments in this place where we have come together and spoken with unity. Sadly, not today.
What's underpinning this, though? Because from my understanding of what went on, the opposition leader had a motion, put it to the Prime Minister, and the government didn't amend Mr Dutton's motion. They just came up with an entirely different one. And clearly there were red flags for him and for the opposition that you weren't going to abide by.
To be fair, Kieran, I'm not privy to the conversations that were happening over the weekend between the two leaders' offices, so I'm not going to have a good guess. What I would like to say, though, is look at the words of Mark Butler on the weekend. Clear, definitive. Chris Minns, the same thing. It's possible. Even today, in the Prime Minister's words in the chamber, it's so guarded, it's so hedged, it's actually incomprehensible. It's lacking emphasis and clarity, and certainly lacking moral clarity. At least we did see a couple of Labor figures being very clear on this space on the weekend, so I will celebrate that part at least.
What do you say to the critics who would argue to you that you need to be cognizant and also upfront about the massive loss that's unfolded since that day as well?
Of course, and I think we all agree that there has been a devastating loss of civilian life in Gaza and potentially will be more broader across the Middle Eastern region. But at the same time, as we heard so often yesterday in the public discourse, Israel did not start this. Israel did not penetrate into Gaza's borders a year ago today. It was the opposite. Hamas, a terrorist organisation, came into those kibbutzim and started killing people, both Jewish Israelis and Arab Israelis. Ones who had helped in the gardens in the kibbutzim were slaughtered as well. And it was horrendous. It wasn't complying with the rules of engagement in wartime. It was just horrendous. And so that's where this started. And yes, the loss of life is devastating, and we all want to see it come to an end as quickly as possible. But by throwing words like this in a day of remembrance today for what happened on the 7th of October is not how to get there.
Zoe McKenzie, thank you. Appreciate your time, as always.